Well, it's been a while. It's been a long time coming. Last time I recorded something was a little over 9 months ago or something like that. A lot has happened in between then. And, there's multiple reasons why I haven't been updating. Honestly, procrastination and laziness is one of the things, but I pretty much thought I'd start anew and get the gears going again and beginning to turn this into something originally what I wanted to. So I thought I'd do a little update on my life. So here we are again. My name is Antonio Q. Tomasello, aka Chocolate Heat. I'm here to give you a slice of chocolate cake. And of course, if you don't know what chocolate cake is things and ideas that come to me in every day in my situations, which I feed to you mentally, not physically, in the form of chocolate cake. Now for this episode, I'm going to call it just an update on my life, and I'm going to explain the things that have been happening, and I'm going to try to keep this, I know it's not going to be short, but I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible, trying to go over the key factors and stuff like that. So, let us begin. A while ago, I had my son, Antonio Q. Tomasello, born 2018, January 15. And soon it's going to be about, 2 years. His birthday's coming up here in a few months. One of the main things that had happened in this time frame is now that I don't live with my son anymore. And as far as just not permanently living with my son, like I don't have him 24/7 like I used to. The reason for it is me and his mother didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. The good news at this point is that we don't hate each other, and we switch off seeing him every single week. So one week I have him, next week she has him, and so forth and so on. It's hard to really pinpoint the exact problem itself, because to be quite honest, this has been going on for a while. Anyone who knows me, anyone personally knows me, this has been going on for years on why things don't work out. And it's frustrating because I want my son 24/7. I've always wanted my son 24/7. I know that when he's here, he is in a lovable space. He has the things he needs. I can get the stuff that he wants, and the stuff that I provide for him 100%, 120%. And I get the job done and whatever he needs in his room. I moved not all my stuff, the majority of my stuff, my equipment, my TV, my computer and all that stuff out of my second bedroom, because that's going to be his room now. Still got a bunch of my collectibles and stuff in there, but eventually down the line, when I put more stuff in there, that's going to be his room. So how it got to that point, honestly, I still kind of don't know how it happened so fast. So I'll just run you through the source of the problem. Well, first of all, really what I want to put out there too is that I don't like to talk about people or disgrace people or try to make someone feel bad without them able to defend themselves. And in this case, I'm talking about the mother of my child. By any means, I don't mean to downplay her or to disgrace her. If anything, I want to uplift her first by saying she's a great mom. First and foremost, she's great to our son. She hasn't done in that sense. She is great. She's fantastic. But the reason why me and her had problems is I'm pretty upfront about how I feel about a lot of things. I'm pretty honest too. And I'll tell you like it is, especially in any relationship. When things are not going great, when things are going good, it's easy. It's not something I hide. So with her, the problem I had was she wasn't financially equipped to be with me in my apartment space. Financially equipped to split everything down the middle, which I preferred and which I liked. I want to make sure that When bills are getting paid, it's 50-50. Food's getting put in the refrigerator, it's 50-50. Anything our son needs, it's 50-50. Now, there was points in times where things were good, but the majority were things were bad. Not being able to afford childcare, not being able to afford things for our son when he needed it, not being able to afford rent when it's needed, and everybody goes through their problems. I mean, life is hard as shit. Just to live with someone in general is even hard itself, and live by yourself, which I do, is hard. I get it. It's not easy to get the best paying job out there. It's not easy to have money when you need it at all points in times. It's not easy to save up. It's hard. Life is hard. It's a struggle, and I don't care when it says it's a struggle. But the thing is why I was so upset about this whole deal is that when things happen, i.e., you have a child, that means you have to be on 200%. That means the faults that you had, the inability to do certain things, goes out the window. I feel that if you can't get something for your son that he needs, you're not doing good. You get it by any means necessary, and this comes from my mom too. When she raised 3 kids, I mean, she got the job done. And there was times where we were eating sandwiches for dinner, and I know at the time my mom was struggling hard, but she got the job done. I felt that too many points in time in our life after our son was born, I had to step up and do something because it wasn't being done on the other end. Too many times where, again, if something was needed for a son, I would ask, can you pick something up? Can you pick up diapers? He needs this. And it was always, I don't have it. It's going to have to wait till 2 weeks from now. I got this, I got that, I got this, I got that. And what was promised in the beginning is half. So I'm willing to extend my hand, of course, when it's needed. I'm not going to say, well, if you can't afford diapers, then he's just not going to have diapers. That means I have to get it done. I have to get it done. My needs being necessary. If I magically don't have the money, I'm going to go get this diaper some way, somehow. So many times it was just the same thing over and over, the same story over and over and over again. And so many times I had to put my stuff aside, anything that I was paying, anything that I wanted. If I was looking at something and I was going to come back and buy it the next day, that wasn't possible because I had to cover for her. And again, I don't want to spit on anyone's names. Maybe she had certain troubles that I just didn't know about, but all I've seen was our son. So around the time, I think something that happened with her, I'm not going to go into details about her driving situation. I sat her down the next day and I said, you know what, it's been so long. And again, I'm going to reiterate, we had this problem before our son was born. And even at that point, I was thinking about ending it. But once we found out, she was pregnant, I was like, we can figure out our differences. I had to get it done for my child. So around this time where she had her driving problem, I had sat her down and I said, you know what? I need to get into your finances. I need to, not being able to obtain them, I need to help you balance them. Because every week it's the same problem. You don't have money for this. You don't have money for that. And it's just over and over and over again. Because if you don't have it, guess who has to have it? I do. If you don't have rent, guess who has to come up with the rest of it? I do. If you don't have money to, change the battery in your car to get to work, to pick up the baby, guess who's got to front it? I do. So I sat her down, I looked at her finances, and, I finally was saying how much you make, this and this and that. I put it. I said, "This is what you pay this week. This is what you pay this week. This week, and this is how much you get paid in total." And I looked at the calendar, and I looked at her, and I said, "Terry, I'll be honest with you. I don't think you can do this. Judging from your bills that you need, and this is not even counting the stuff that Antonio might need, diapers, food, you can't do this." At one point in time too, which was another problem, she had a good job. Well, not the best of jobs, but the most high paying job she's ever had. And all of a sudden, she had quit to another job which paid nothing. And the reason for her quitting, because they were taking advantage of her, how jobs do. And this is true. I noticed the phone calls she's had, stuff like that. So I understand that she was being taken advantage of. But the problem is, she decided just all of a sudden to just switch it up and just say, you know what, I don't like this job. I'm just going to go for something that's less stressful. Leaving the inability for me to do such thing, and leaving the problem of you're just not having enough money. Like, it didn't stop her and say, you know what, if I do this, I can't afford this. It was just, I'm just going to do it. And again, when you have a child, you can't do that. If I have my son here and my job, which stresses me out a lot, trust me, I cannot quit this job until I find a job that pays me more. I cannot do it. I would not be able to afford my stuff. I'll be not able to make the payments on my car, pay my school loans, pay for my son's babysitter, and all that stuff. I cannot do it. I don't have that ability to do it. So once I sat her down, I said, you can't do this. You can't afford to live here. You've made decisions that put you in the spot, which angered me so much, because it wasn't just all of a sudden. It was decisions, bad decisions after bad decisions after bad decisions, which led to her inability to live with me. And I was like, you're not doing well. So I told her, I said, you probably need to go back to your parents. You probably need to live with your parents for a little bit, get yourself straight, and we can figure this out. So here is where things went south. Of course, like I said, she had problems with her license. So the next day, of course, I woke up, took her to work and all that stuff, and she was really silent. And I think it was my day off. I had my son. So we go out I take him out to eat and stuff like that with some friends. And all of a sudden, I get a phone call from her, like saying, I'm leaving tonight. I said, what? I'm leaving tonight. And here's the part where I get upset. And I mean pissed. She said, I'm leaving tonight. Antonio will be back, so-and-so. I said, what? She said, my son, sorry, if you don't know, my son's name is Antonio. She said, Antonio will be back, so-and-so date. And I said, no, the fuck he won't be back at so-and-so date. I said, he's going to be here. And it was this back and forth, how, this and this, I'm going to go, this. And I was like, well, fucking go. But you don't just take our son with you. You don't have a place to live. And it was, I'll figure it out. My parents will help. And I was like, I don't give a fuck who's going to help you. You don't have a place to live right now. Why would you take our son somewhere? I said, you can do what you want. I'm not denying you have ever seen your child. But I was like, don't you fucking dare tell me what's going to happen with my son and me not have a say-so in it. So this is, I think at the time, right before I went into the restaurant to eat with my friends. So, the whole time I was upset for a while. Pissed. Angry. Getting angrier. But had a good time. We eat. Before I got off the phone with her, she was saying when I get off of work, I'm getting off early, I'm going to pack my stuff and my sister's coming down. So she's like calling me saying when I'm going to be home, when I'm going to be home, when I'm going to be home. She's almost home. I'm like, look, I'll be home when I be home. Okay. Well, I'm trying to eat. I'm trying to have a good time with friends and my son. I'll be home when I'll be home. So I get home. I'm going to play around with my son a little bit. She shows up. And I want to reiterate what type of patience I have as a person. My patience I think it's fantastic. My patience, it can be stretched or very, very, very long. I mean, it can be stretched out. So once she gets there, immediately she starts packing and stuff like that. She says hi. She says, can you watch them for a little bit while I pack all this stuff? And I'm like, yeah. So this whole time I'm with my son, I'm literally thinking, going over my options. I'm like, you know what? I could just fucking call the police if this is a problem. This is where he resides. This is where all his paperwork says he lives at. She doesn't have a place to go. Clearly he will stay with me. It's well known. I mean, it's not a problem. If I call the cops, this is going to end all of this. I'm like, and I come to the crossroads. I'm like, if I call the police, it's going to be a problem. I'm probably have to call off work, probably try to get lawyers and all this stuff. And I was like, what to do? And the whole time she's backing up. She's, honestly, I think just shitting on my name, disrespecting me to whoever she's talking to, her family members, saying she's not going to like make someone feel like shit. She's a good mom, all this stuff. No one's gonna tell her how to do this. And I'm just playing with my son. I'm like, yo, you got some fucking balls, man. The most frustrating thing about all this is that in cases like this, you would think, in most cases when this happens, it's like somebody, domestic violence, like some guy hits another lady and this is what escalates to this point or something. But like, it wasn't that at all. It sucks when you're like, I'm a good fucking dad. I'm a good fucking person. Why is this happening to me? This doesn't make sense. I provide for my son. I provide for her. And because I say the truth, it escalates. So eventually she gets done packing. Her sister shows up. And again, I'm thinking, just call the police. Just call the police. This is not going to be a problem. But I don't. And I guess at this point, I'm happy I didn't. I just tell myself, look, if she wants to keep him for a week to comfort her, I don't agree with it, but I will allow it. If she's around family, that makes me feel a little bit better. But if she does not bring him back in a week, that's when you go on an attack. That's when you call the police. That's when you get lawyers. I said, but for right now, Antonio, it will be okay. It will be okay. So I show up. I say goodbye to my son. I tell him, Daddy loves you very much, and he'll see you soon. And it's heartbreaking, dude. It's like, again, it's like, I'm a fucking good person. I'm a fucking good dad. This shouldn't happen. They leave. Whatever. The next day, I think I'm off too. And at this point in time, it really starts to hit. And this is where my anger just shoots through the roof. And it's not like I go and smash stuff or whatever, but my anger is just building. And I try to calm myself down because it's the same thing as when people get sad and they listen to sad music, or like people always think about all the sad times, like when you're sad. It's just so it builds. I'm just sitting there like, how fucking dare you? How fucking dare you take my son away from me? In the back of my head, I'm just so upset. It's like, I fucking provide for him. I bought this crib, I bought this car seat, I paid all that shit for the babysitter, I bought all these goddamn clothes, I put food in the refrigerator. It's like, how fucking dare you? I worked my ass off to get this apartment by myself, capable of having a second room for my son. How fucking dare you? I'm just so upset, so pissed. It's like this time you just want to call him up and just be like, listen, fuck, like, you just want to so fucking mad. You're like, fucking listen to me. I just know it's just not a smart move. It's just not the thing to do. I don't make abrupt decisions like that. I don't. But even I think the next day when I go to work, I'm just upset. I'm just so fucking mad. Like, it should not happen to me. Should not happen this way. You should not have the privilege to even do that when you're fucking up in life. You should not be able to drag your child around because you're fucking up in life, because it's going to make you feel better. It's not what's good for him. It's what makes you feel better. And I think a few days go by, and I think I call, if I remember correctly. And I tell myself, I said, just don't get upset. Ask how your son's doing. Ask to talk to your son on the phone. You know, making all these noises or whatever. Just ask to speak to your son and then have a conversation with her. I speak to my son. You know, my son can't talk yet, of course, but you know, he can say words and stuff. So, you know, I'm like, Daddy loves you very much. Daddy can't wait to see you. And I'm feeling like a fucking like Lifetime movie bullshit where visitation rights are weekend dad fucking shit. Like, I'm feeling, again, just so fucking mad. But I'm like, it's okay, just whatever. So then after I talked to her, I said, look, this day is when we can meet up halfway. We can go pick him up. And she says, yeah, I'm sorry about this and that, which was, it did help me a little bit. Once she apologized and said, you know, I'm sorry for this, the way it went down, it didn't really cure my anger, but I just know that it's best to just be level-headed. So, to wrap it all up for the majority part, at least of this section, I see my son once every week now. And the relationship between me and her has gotten better. It's definitely good. I definitely don't mind her company, but as far as ever getting back together, that's probably never gonna happen. I don't know if she wants to hear that, but I'm still upset how it went down. I think she's doing better in life. I think she's trying to take classes for college or whatever. I think she's doing great. I think she needs to apply herself for more assistance, but I think she's doing okay. And as long as she can provide for my son, I don't have any complaints. There's some things I still don't like, but if she can provide for my son, I really can't complain. So I see my son once every other week. We meet halfway. I drop him off. We meet halfway. I pick him up. I hopefully down in the future, again, she probably doesn't want to hear it. I hope he wants to live with me when he gets older. I think when they're 18, they're able to make that decision without court interference. But I'm willing to provide for him. I can provide for him. I work hard to provide for him. So he always has a place. And I guess for this podcast, I mean, I guess it's split up in 3 sections. That was already, 24 fucking minutes? But again, I'm trying to keep it rolling, keep it moving. So, I mean, after all that, I do have somewhat free time. And that's, of course, on the days that I don't have them. Or the week that I don't have them. And if anyone knows, I've been thinking about doing stand-up comedy for a long time, for years and years. I've always thought that I've had, at least, I think that, you know, I'm funny to a lot of my friends. I'm always I'm always trying to have fun. I'm always cracking jokes. And mostly at my expense. I never crack jokes on people, but I'm always thought that, man, I can do some good stand-up. Like, I have good material the way I deliver. And it just so happens that one day I actually did. Now, I don't tell people about this, just because at the time I didn't want friends to show up at the bar I did. And a lot of people want their friends there for support and stuff like that. But I wanted to have a fresh crowd of people I didn't know to guess, or really to, what's the word I'm looking for? To rate really how, funny I was. Like, I don't want friends there trying to fake laugh. And I know this, whether they don't want to do it or not. I just wanted a fresh take on it. So it was about 4 months ago, I think, when I was looking around to find places that did stand-up comedy. I think there's a place where I live now that did it like once a month. There's a bar that does it twice a month. But again, I wanted fresh pair, so I was like looking for places to drive to, 30 minutes, an hour away, bars and stuff like that. And I found this bar. If I can remember the name, it's like Lucky or Stripe something. That was actually a really nice bar that I was looking at for about a few weeks. I was looking at the sign-up sheet for stuff, and I was like, maybe I'll do it. Because again, I've been contemplating doing comedy for like years, and I've been storing some material around for when it happened. So when I went online and looked this up, there was an online sign-up sheet. It was, I believe, 3 to 5 minutes. I think if it's too many people, it's 3 minutes. If it's not enough people, it's 5 minutes. So when I went in there and did the sign-up sheet, I just put my name on it and all that stuff. And you don't have to pay or anything. You just sign up for it. And on my day off, Friday night, I drove up there and I sat and waited for them to call my name for me to do 3 minutes of stand-up. So I get to the bar. Bar's nice again. I see all the other people, see all the other comics, I guess. I mean, there's not a lot. There's literally I think there's like 5 people or something like that. So I was like, is this a lot? Is this a little bit? Am I going to do 3 minutes? I'm going to do 5 minutes. And I was like, I'll just try to wrap it up in 3 and use the extra material for 5. So when I did this, there was it was a mindset I had to get into, because my goal was to, one, of course, make people laugh, but I need to have a joke that is short and you're able to end it in 3 to 5 minutes. You can't just start off with the joke saying like, airplane food, that's crazy. Like, it has to be on topic, it has to be funny, it has to be relevant. And the way I decided to do my comedy, I think there's 2 big forms of comedy. Somebody's calling me. Probably somebody's in a warranty. There's 2 big forms of comedy, at least in my eyes, and at least of what I was deciding to do. There's comedy that is well written. Like, there's comedy and there's jokes that I would say Chris Rock or Louis Black. Like, there's certain jokes that are brilliantly written. You're like, fuck, that is a good ass joke. And then there's jokes in comedy that may not be the best, but they're well performed. Dave Chappelle is one of these guys who can do both. Dave Chappelle is one of my favorite, if not my favorite all-time comedians, who's able to tell a story that anyone else would do and it wouldn't be funny, but the way he presents himself, the way he says his words, it's funny. So I thought my jokes weren't well written, but the way I present them would be funny. I was like, I know there's times where I'm at work where I'm thinking about stuff and I laugh like, that's fucking hilarious. I'm like, that needs to be a joke, and I refine the joke. So on this night, I decided that I needed to start with a joke about elderly people. So when I did this joke, to give you an example how the joke went, I start off and saying, man, this was like, I'm getting real tired of elderly people. Like, and I say, don't get me wrong. Like, I love my grandma. I love my nana. Rest her soul. She's great. She was amazing. She cooked well and all that stuff. And I said, but your grandma, she sucks. I fucking hate her and I wish she was dead. But not like, I didn't say it like that. I was like, I wish she was dead. Or like, I'd kick her or some shit like that. And I said, when I tell this joke, I have to get that part right. I have to feel the crowd. That joke has to hit. That part has to hit. That has to be funny. So I have to say, don't get me wrong, I love my nana. I love her so much. It's great. She cooks well and everything. But your nana, she's garbage. I hate her. Like, but your grandma's a piece of shit. So at that point in time, when I told that joke, I got a good laugh out of it. And I continued on by saying, old people, the worst. I was like, you don't know patience until you see an old person check out vegetables at a self-checkout or something like that. And I was like, talking about all that stuff. I was like, look, man, I'm not saying I would hurt an old person, but if no one's around, like, and I take the little tennis balls off the little walker or whatever, and I trip them. Like, the joke was just like, and I like, but I'll drop kick a motherfucker. I drop kick the shit out of a Susan or a Grace. Like, when I did these jokes, I mean, they were hitting. They were doing great. I was doing fantastic. But fuck, dude, time fucking flies. And I think around the time where the 3 minutes was up, no one was shooing me off the stage. I know when the first comics went up, and to be honest, I didn't like any of these comics at all that night. There was one guy who was okay, but I thought they were all pretty bad. But the guy signals them, they shoot off the stage, and you say whatever you gotta say. And then, but they weren't shooting me off. I thought it was because I was amazing. No, it's just because they were just letting the 5 minutes go. So, I told another joke. I can't remember what the joke was about. I think it was about liking Smirnoff Ices, like, and how I have to hide Smirnoff Ices because it's so delicious, like. And that joke hit, and I got a good laugh. Personally, I think I got the best laugh of the night. And then they shoot me off, and I say, that's my time. And I think I said I'll see you next week or something like that. And then when that ends, I have a drink at the bar. Some guy says I had a good set. It was great. I believe it was the comedian who was going up after me, but I didn't stay too long. I had my drink and I rolled out because I felt pretty accomplished. I felt really accomplished. And that's a great booster for me because it reassures that I'm in the right path. And every time I brought up trying to do stand-up, everybody would say the same thing to me, and it wasn't ever a person doing stand-up. It was always like a friend, like, you just gotta do it, man, you just gotta do it, you just gotta bomb, you just gotta do it. And I was like, no, man, I don't want to bomb. Like, I want to kill it. That's going to make me want to do it more. I don't want to go to bar at the bar and then bomb and bomb and bomb. Like, oh, I'm just going to get better. No, I said I want to craft it, get there, and kill it. And again, I didn't tell anyone about it because I just wanted that blind reassurance from people I didn't know. But it turned out fantastic. I liked it. It was great. I haven't did one since then though. A lot of stuff was happening between there, and I'll explain to you. I guess I'll explain to you why for the most part. So after that, I think it was a few weeks after that, a month after that, I had an issue with, I guess I'll just say my allergies for right now. A few months ago, I ended up going to the hospital because I took myself to the hospital because I had this uncontrollable cough. And I want to drive this home. I mean uncontrollable. I mean coughing constantly, the hardest you can, all day, with not even like 30 seconds to breathe and talk. I mean just this hard cough. coughed to the point I was throwing up because I was coughing so much. Just coughing so hard. That night, I went to the hospital because I was like, I can't sleep. I can't do anything because I'm coughing so hard. And they were like, hey, your allergies just have gone to like 100%. That's just what happens. Here's some antibiotics. Here's some breathing treatments. Have a good night. So I took the antibiotics, and again the next day, coughing so hard all day. Like I was about to just cry because I've never seen anyone in this world do this. Like, is this a new disease? Like, am I going crazy? So again, the next night, went to the hospital. So I cannot sleep because I'm coughing so hard. Constantly. Cough, 30 seconds of maybe not coughing, and cough. I say, your allergies. We did all the tests. It is what it is. Here's some more antibiotics. They said, and I think at this point they said, this will help you, but the symptoms will last about a month and a half or so. I said, okay, well, whatever. So the next day I was coughing a lot less, thank God. I was just drinking tea and all that stuff. And this is why this leads into what happened to me recently. Maybe like a week or two after that, I was super short on breath. Like, super short on breath. Like, I couldn't breathe. Like, I was, I don't know what I was doing at the time, but I was like, I had to stop. I think I was working. I had to stop because I was like, God damn, am I working so hard? It's me being out of shape. I was like, man, it's hard time breathing. And this would happen like maybe every other week, once a week or something like that. And I was like, man, I just cannot breathe. I have to stop what I'm doing, catch my breath. I mean, it would be good after maybe like 5 minutes, and I'll continue on and do whatever. I was like, man, this might be what they were talking about with the symptoms. And then we ran into what happened to me, I think last week, maybe. So last week, I picked my son up, take him home, or we go grocery shopping and stuff like that, hang out, play around, have a good time, put him to sleep. I'm off the next day, so I'm up for a while. Then what happens around, I think 2 a.m. I try to go to sleep. I'm like, it's super late. Let me go to sleep. Hop into bed, and then I start shivering. And I mean hard. I mean, I feel like I'm in Antarctica with no clothes on, shivering. I'm just super shivering, just uncontrollable. I'm like, what the fuck? Is it that cold in here? I was like, did I get sick really quick? What the fuck is happening? So I get up, I walk outside. It's hot outside for the most part. Walk outside, and I'm shivering a lot less, but I'm still shivering a little bit. I sit on the stairwell of my apartment complex, and I'm just like shivering, and I'm like, what the fuck? So, looking at the clock, I'm like, okay, here's what I'll do. I'm gonna take my son to the babysitters. I originally was gonna keep him because I'm off the next day, but I was like, I work super early, so I'll drop him off at the babysitters early in about a couple hours, and then if I'm that bad, I'll go to the hospital. So I wait a little bit. I think I stopped shivering, which is good, but here comes the shortness of breath again, and I'm like dying. I'm like, fuck, like I cannot breathe. I'm going like, I take my son to babysitters, and babysitter lives up like 4 flights of stairs, and usually I carry him. So this time I put his shoes on, and then we walk up the stairs because I'm like, I'm sorry, daddy's having a hard time right now. But so we get to the top of the stairs. I take him to babysitters. She's like, are you okay? And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to the hospital. I'm starting to feel dizzy. So I go to the hospital, and then I get to the hospital, and it happens to be that same guy I saw a few months ago, actually, which is funny. He's like, hey, you look familiar. I'm like, yep, that was me that was here. I get to the hospital, I tell them the symptoms, tell them what's going on, and then they take a bunch of tests, and they say, we don't see this, and here's the crazy part. is that once they do, I think it's an MRI. I'm not sure. They put me in the machine. They scan me. I throw up when I get out of it. I fucking hate that machine. And then 2 doctors come into the room after that, a few minutes after that, and they're like, we don't know what it is yet. They say it could be this, could be this, could be that. And I noticed they're beating around the bush a little bit. And then I just flat out come on and say it, and I say, it could be cancer. And then they're like, it is a possibility that it could be cancer. It's a low possibility, but this. And I'm like, damn. And what happens after that is they go into a type of like questionnaire to make sure you're feeling depressed, to make sure you're ready for the news that if it is cancer. So they start asking me questions, stuff like that, and you're sad, and I'm like, I'm not sad. I said I'm worried. My son is the only thing I care about at this point. I said, man, if I got cancer, I got cancer. Ain't nothing I can do. Give me the treatments, I'll beat them. I'll beat cancer. I don't have a problem. So I think I wait a little bit, and then one of the doctors comes back in again, and he's like, look, we're still doing the test, but you need to go to a bigger hospital. I'm like, why do I need to go to the bigger hospital? And they say, your oxygen levels are drastically low. And they tell me the numbers of what your oxygen level should be, and mine is like super low. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just drive there. And they're like, no, you need to be on oxygen right now, constantly, and you need to be transported by ambulance. I'm like, fuck, dude, I just want to go home, give me my antibiotics. I'm like, okay, just transfer me to the hospital, let me get my breathing treatments, and maybe I'll be out by night. So they transfer me to the hospital. I notice when I get to the hospital, one of the nurses comes in with, I don't know the name of them, but what it does, it circulates blood through your legs. So it's like big old, the arm thing they put on you to, I guess, measure your blood pressure or whatever. They put the shit on your arm, they pump it. This is like for your legs that goes constantly. So she puts it on the table. I'm like, yo, what is that shit for? And she's like, well, it's help circulation with your legs. I'm like, the fuck I need help circulation with my legs for? I'm going to be out here by night. And then another doctor from that hospital comes in, and he finally explains, we did the test and all that stuff, you have pneumonia. I was like, well, that definitely sounds better than cancer. I was like, give me my antibiotics so I can roll out. He's like, you're going to be here for about 4 or 5 days. I'm like, fuck. I was like, I feel fine, Like, I didn't feel too great earlier. And he's like, you have walking pneumonia. It doesn't do this. It starts up slow. It ramps up. But it's really bad. Your infection is really bad in your lungs. And it's restricting you from breathing, too. I'm like, fuck. So now I call my mom and all this stuff. Call my job. I coordinate with my mom and my brother to pick my son up. And his mother comes down. So she can watch him, too. And she can check up on me, which is great. I appreciate that. And this whole time I'm in the hospital, I'm just feeling like garbage because they're making me lay in this bed, and I just want to get up and breathe and walk, but you guys are making me do this. And then the doctors explained to me I probably have sleep apnea, which is definitely true because I've seen a video of me sleeping years ago, and that shit is fucking disturbing. So all this stuff happens. I'm in there for a few days. They send me down to the ICR because I guess I'm getting worse. I didn't feel like I'm getting worse, but whatever. Doctors say I'm getting worse. I go down at ICR, intensive care unit. They watch me. They monitor me more. I'm peeing in a jar. I can't go to the bathroom because I'm not supposed to be like losing that much oxygen. It's just fucking garbage. And finally, a doctor walks in. I think the 3rd day or something like that, and he's like, man, how long you been on this? How long you been? And I was like, I've been on oxygen all day, yada yada yada. He's looking at the nurse. He's like, yo, man, like, take this fucking oxygen off him. Like, let him breathe. See how he breathes without it. And if he needs it, just put it right back on. It's going to be right next to him. And the nurse is like, well, his oxygen levels aren't so great. And he's like, but it'll be right next to him. Like, he'll be fine. We have the mask right next to him. We have the tubes that go in his nose. Like, what? He would be fine. I'm like, yo, fucking thank you. You take that shit off. I'm feeling great. I'm breathing fine. I was like, yo, man, I told y'all idiots. Like, if you just give me some time and like adjust my breathing and let me get up, like, I would be better. So finally they moved me back into a regular room because I can breathe well. And then the next day, I believe, they let me go. But before that, they filled me in on a lot of stuff, which is pretty helpful. So I'm going to interject, I guess, at this point before I leave. The doctor walks in and tells me this stuff. But years ago, I used to work out. Years ago, I want to say 5-6 years ago, I started working out, living healthy. I looked fucking great. I lost a lot of weight in there. I moved down sizes. I was wearing smaller shirts. I mean, I thought I looked fucking great. I thought I looked muscular. It was a great time in my life. I was eating well. I had eating regimens. I went to the gym 5 days out of the week. I monitored my calories. I monitored my protein intake. I was doing all that stuff, taking creatine, go to the gym, just killing it. It was, at that point in time in my life, I was like, hey, if I want to meet my philosophy on why I started working out was, if I want to meet a nice girl, I want a good looking girl, it's not fair that I'm sitting here like a slob, And I worked out for years ago, or I started working out at Planet Fitness. Once I updated my regimen and went serious, I moved to a bigger gym. I was just killing it. I was looking great. And I had a different job at that point. So what happened was, once I switched jobs and my hours changed, I used to work an 8-hour job. Now I work pretty much a 12-hour job. And I worked super early in the morning. Once I switched that, it started to decline. I started to go to the gym less. I started working out less. I started eating worse because now that I didn't work at like a gas station deli place that had great alternatives for food, great salads and stuff like that, energy bars if I needed it, light snacks. I went from doing that to being a vendor, working at stores, and now I have to stop at 7-Eleven, fast food places to get something to eat because I was always on the move. So that declined. It started to decline, but it was okay in the beginning. I was still working out sparsely. And then once my son was born, it dropped to nothing. It dropped to zero. It dropped to me not working out. It dropped to me eating like garbage, because I just wanted to eat. To get back to watching my son, I remember just eating pizza rolls and dipping them in cheese because before he woke up, because I just wanted something to eat so I can focus on him. All my stuff just dropped to nothing. So slowly I started gaining back all my weight. I started to eat like garbage. I started to feel like garbage. And that's the point that I was at, still now. And that's the point I was at before I went to the hospital, I think I'm the biggest I've ever been. I still have the muscle mass, or at least a small majority of the muscle mass that I had. Unfortunately, it's still over fat and calories and all that stuff. So the good news is once I get kicked back into overdrive, it's going to be less time than what I did before the years of working out, but I'm still at a bad spot. So we'll jump back to when I was in the hospital. Doctors filling me in about this, and unfortunately, when I tell them about my dad's history and how he died, and he died from high blood pressure, blood vessel burst in his head, he was talking about all that stuff like, you have that stuff from what we've seen in the tests, and of course, you need to lose weight again. This will help you out because you're already against the wall. Like before, even if you're healthy, you're still going to need to make some steps by high blood pressure and all that stuff. But working out and lose weight, that would be the number one thing for right now. And I told him, I was like, man, I used to work out, I used to look good. I said it wasn't hard, it's just the circumstances. Now that I have a son and I work so many hours, like I cannot do anything. Like I can't go to the gym when I have my son because as soon as I get off work, I have to pick him up. But of course there's excuses and just being lazy. So I'm not saying everything's impossible. It's just highly unlikely. I came to a point in my time, I want to say a year ago, where I just didn't give a shit because I was just like, my son comes first. Everything else is afterwards. But they started filling me in all my health issues, like all the stuff. I'm like, fuck, man, like I'm not in a good position in life. I'm not. I need to be better. I need to be better for my son. So it fills me in all this stuff, gives me medication for high blood pressure, all that stuff, and there's a consultation I gotta go to in a few days because I get out of hospital on, I guess I'm cured of pneumonia, but I still have popping pills like crazy. So it was a good wake up call for me. You know, immediately the next day I switched up the way I eat food in the morning, the way I eat food at night. I mean, is it perfect? Is it perfect right now? No. Is it even close to what I used to do when I worked out? No, because I was on some tight shit. But it's good. Like I wake up in the morning, I have English muffin, I have banana and orange. For lunch, I have something light. I pack my lunches now, whether it be rice, chicken, and always vegetables. And then for dinner, I usually try to bend it a little bit and eat the majority of what I want until I get to a nice training regimen I have to pick up again. So it's going to be a long road from here, but I need to get back into it. Because, you know, it's sad looking at old pictures and stuff like that. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I used to fucking kill it. I used to look fucking good as shit. Like, fuck. All the shirts I gotta fucking put back on that I used to wear before I started working out is depressing. It's like, fuck, I gotta move back to these big ass shirts again. But I have no one to blame but myself. A lot has happened in these months. And also, one of the things they try to explain to me in the hospital is my stress levels are through the roof. My stress levels are one of the big issues that I have with my health, because it's true, I stress every single day. Every single day I wake up, I gotta pay bills by myself, I take care of my son by myself. I have to go to a job that stresses me out beyond crazy, because you can do everything perfectly, but it still ends up bad. And that is one of the key issues. And the doctor was explaining to me, I have this philosophy on life that it's pretty much to get the job done. All you have to do is put your left foot in front of your right foot, and then the left foot in front of your right foot, and you just keep moving. You keep moving till the day ends. And that's how my philosophy on life was. That's how I don't sleep very much. I sleep a few hours, but I get up, I get the job done, I come home. I get up, I get the job done, I come home. I get up, I get the job done, I come home. And it's my thought process, because I have the ability, I have great endurance, I can get it done. But what they were trying to explain to me in the hospital, that's not the way you want to do things. You're turning these old rusty gears to make the machine work. You're cranking them. They're still there. They still work, but they're all battered and bruised. You're cranking the machine. You're getting it to work still, but you need to change the gears out. Put new gears in. Make it run more smoothly. I was like, that is exactly the way I'm doing things. I'm getting the job done. I tell myself when I wake up in the morning, if I'm ever tired, if I'm exhausted, just keep moving. Get it done, because you can do it. You're the only one that can do it. You've always got the job done. Get it done. But that's not the way you want to do things. I need to change it up. I need to be more healthy. I need to be more conscious about this stuff. I was capable and able to do this stuff before, and yes, I had better circumstances. I didn't have a son back then. I had a 8-hour job. Sometimes I even worked even less. I was closer to the gym. As soon as I leave work, I would go straight to the gym. I was closer around healthy foods. All that was easy. It was easier. And this is why I didn't do it, because I just felt it was too much. I already have my problems right now. I don't need that. But it's escalated to a point that when the hospital is telling me what's bad, I don't have a choice anymore. It needs to be done now. Again, a lot has happened in these few months. Not a very uplifting podcast, but it's the truth. The 3 parts again were with my son, then having some type of revelation or some rebirth and pursuing comedy, and again tragic stuff when I went to the hospital. But it's all lessons learned. My son is doing great. He's healthy. He's fucking hilarious. and hopefully down the line, he can live with me. I don't think things are great with me and his mom about ever being together again, but we are on good terms. So what the future holds for me, I guess. I want to try to continue this every week. I really do. It's going to be a little hard, and I've never really followed that schedule to a T, but I want to try to keep up on this. I'm still trying to do the video games thing on YouTube. I still need a squad of people who are dedicated, able to hold a conversation, like the things I like, and pursue something else. Because if I can get out of this job and shit, make YouTube money or something, just even if it's just to relieve stress, to talk about my things, it will work out because I keep everything to myself. That's the way I've always done it. It's not the best way to do it, but it's just the way I've always done it. So if I can just keep this up, continue to do this, put some content out, that'd be great. So again, I'm going to post this on Facebook. I'm going to try to do some video game content today too also. Man, I didn't even check the YouTube shit. A chocolate game? What the fuck? Whatever, I'll post a link to see where I'm gonna put this video. Besides, it'll be on my Spreaker page, of course. So it'll be on Facebook. We're gonna post to, of course. I believe it'll be on Chocolate Gaming, or is it Chocolate Heat on YouTube? I don't fucking know anymore. It's been so long. Just fucking stick with me, and I'll update you accordingly. So again, thank you guys for listening. And thank you for enjoying some chocolate cake.